The red "Live" light glowed in the corner of the studio camera, casting a tiny, ominous reflection across the polished desk. Trump's fingers drummed impatiently on his stack of notes. Jasmine didn't look at him. She was too busy reading the single sheet of paper she'd carried in, folded so carefully it looked almost delicate. The moderator cleared his throat, voice trembling just enough that everyone watching at home could hear it. "Mr. Trump, do you deny authorizing this transaction?" Trump's eyes flicked to the cameras, to the blinking tally light. "This is a setup," he snapped. "I'm not answering that." Jasmine didn't flinch. "Then I will," she said softly. Trump turned on her so fast the microphone nearly toppled over. "Don't you dare," he hissed, forgetting he was still live. The producer's voice crackled over the earpiece. "We are still on air. For the love of God, control this." Jasmine lifted the folded page higher, her hand so steady it looked rehearsed. "You told everyone you had nothing to hide," she said evenly. "But here's the thing." She paused, letting the hush wrap around every person in the studio. "Truth doesn't care who you are." Trump's lips parted, searching for something, some line that would save him. But in that moment, everyone watching knew he didn't have it. Trump's breathing turned ragged, the microphone picking up every uneven exhale. Jasmine didn't look away. Her thumb slid across the crease of the folded document, revealing a single black line of text. "Transfer confirmation, restricted account." Gasps rippled through the control room glass. A producer in the corner pressed both hands over his headset, mouthing, "Don't say it yet." Trump leaned forward, his voice dropping to a dangerous whisper. "You have no idea what you're doing." Jasmine tilted her head. "I think I do." The moderator cleared his throat, his hand visibly shaking. "Ms. Crockett, are you prepared to verify the authenticity of this record?" Jasmine didn't blink. "Yes." Trump's jaw clenched. A bead of sweat slid down his temple. "This is defamation," he snapped, louder now, forgetting the mic was still live. Jasmine's fingers rested on the bottom edge of the page. "It's evidence," she corrected quietly. Trump looked past her, eyes darting to the producers hovering behind the cameras. "Cut the broadcast," he ordered, voice brittle. "Cut it now." A hush fell so deep, it made the fluorescent lights seem too loud. No one moved. Jasmine turned to the camera, millions of viewers watching her face. "He wants you to stop listening," she said, her voice calm and even. "That's why I'm not finished." Trump's hand slammed down on the desk. "I said," but no one heard the rest, because Jasmine spoke over him, her words slicing clean through the tension. "There's more." Outside the studio, the headlines were already writing themselves, and every person watching felt the same chill. Whatever was in her hand was going to end the illusion. Trump's fist stayed clenched on the table, knuckles white against the polished wood. Jasmine unfolded the document one more careful inch. The camera zoomed so close that every crease in the paper became visible on millions of screens. She cleared her throat, her voice perfectly steady. "Transfer confirmation," she read softly. "Date, August 3rd. Trump's nostrils flared. "You don't have context for that," he snapped. Jasmine didn't look away. "That's what you're hoping, isn't it?" she said evenly. "That no one will ask why a restricted account moved 7 figures overnight." The moderator swallowed hard. "Congresswoman Crockett, is this linked to campaign funds?" Jasmine paused. Her silence was answer enough. Trump's face turned a shade darker, his voice cracking. "You think you're proving something," he rasped. "All you're doing is humiliating yourself." Jasmine set the paper flat on the table, her hand still covering the bottom half. "If I'm wrong," she said quietly, "tell them." Trump's lips parted. No words came out. A producer whispered into the moderator's earpiece, "We're live in every time zone. No legal block yet. Jasmine lifted her gaze to the camera. He wants this to disappear, she said calmly. That's why he's yelling. Trump's hand trembled against the desk. This is a lie, he hissed, voice brittle. Cut the feed. But no one moved, no one even breathed, because they all knew, whatever was on that page, he couldn't afford the world to see. Jasmine's fingers slid down the document, stopping just above the final line. The studio lights felt hotter than before, bright enough to make sweat bead across Trump's forehead. Amount, she read aloud, her voice so calm it almost sounded kind. $7,250,000. Gasps erupted behind the cameras. Trump's jaw clenched so tight the microphone crackled with every word. This is out of context, he said, his tone brittle. You have no proof what that money was for. Jasmine tilted her head. Then tell them, she said evenly. Tell the country why that payment exists. Trump's gaze flicked to the control room, searching for someone, anyone, who could make this stop. Cut the broadcast, he snapped again, louder. I'm not doing this circus. The moderator swallowed. Sir, we're live. I said cut it. But no one reached for the switch. Because every producer knew what the headlines would say if they blacked out the feed now. Jasmine's hand moved, exposing a signature scrawled across the bottom of the page. Trump's signature. The hush in the studio turned electric. You told the world you never signed anything, Jasmine said softly, that you never moved a dollar. Trump's voice dropped to a rasp. You're destroying yourself. Jasmine didn't look away. Or maybe, she whispered, I'm just proving you're not untouchable. Outside the studio, every major news network cut into programming. Live, Trump confronted over secret payment. And in that moment, everyone watching knew he was one sentence away from losing control completely. Trump's breathing turned ragged, every exhale caught by the microphone. Jasmine didn't blink. Her hand rested on the final line of the document, the one that would confirm everything. You can end this yourself, she said quietly. You can explain before I read it. Trump shook his head, his voice cracking. You don't know what you're playing with. Jasmine's expression didn't change. I know exactly what this is, she said evenly. It's the truth. A producer whispered frantically into the moderator's earpiece. He's about to walk off set. The moderator cleared his throat. Mr. Trump, do you deny signing this payment authorization? Trump's eyes blazed. This is political theater, he snapped. She doesn't have the whole record. Jasmine tilted her head, her voice calm. Then provide it. Trump's jaw worked, but no words came. She began sliding her hand off the final line. Don't, he said, louder this time. Don't you dare. The hush in the studio was so thick it felt alive. Outside, the network ticker crawled across the bottom of millions of screens. Breaking, Jasmine Crockett to read. Final line of Trump, document live. Jasmine's fingers hovered over the text. You could have answered, she said softly. You could have been honest. Trump leaned forward, voice raw. I told you, cut the broadcast. But no one moved, because everyone understood. The moment he demanded silence was the moment he confirmed everything. The air in the studio felt like it was about to snap. Jasmine's hand hovered over the last line of text. Trump's eyes locked on hers, unblinking, as if he could stop her by sheer will. You don't understand what you're doing, he rasped. I understand exactly, Jasmine said quietly. And so does everyone watching. The moderator swallowed hard. Congresswoman Crockett, for the record, are you about to reveal the beneficiary listed on this payment? Jasmine didn't look away from Trump. Yes, Trump's voice cracked. If you do this, you're going to destroy more than me. Jasmine's tone was softer than it had been all night. Then you should have thought about that before you signed it. A ripple of movement passed through the control room, producers exchanging nervous glances, legal counsel whispering behind clipboards. The red live light kept blinking. Outside the studio, the network anchor's voice trembled over the feed. "We are awaiting the confirmation of a name that could change the trajectory of this investigation." Jasmine slowly lifted her hand. The final line gleamed under the studio lights, letters crisp and black. Beneficiary, the Trump Family Trust. A gasp tore through the room. Trump's shoulders twitched, but he didn't look away. Jasmine didn't say the words out loud yet. She waited, just a heartbeat longer. "If you have something to say," she murmured, "say it now." Trump's jaw clenched so tight the cords in his neck stood out. "You don't know what this will unleash," he said hoarsely. "Maybe," Jasmine whispered, "but it's not my job to protect your secrets." And as the cameras zoomed in on that single line, the entire country realized there was no cutting the broadcast anymore. The studio was so quiet that the soft hum of the lights sounded deafening. Jasmine placed both palms flat on the table, her eyes locked on Trump. "I'm going to read it," she said calmly. Trump's voice cracked. "You're making a mistake." She didn't flinch. "No," she said. "I'm ending one." The moderator's hands shook as he held his clipboard closer to his chest. "Congresswoman Crockett, for the record, please state the name of the beneficiary." Jasmine inhaled once, steady and slow. Her voice rang clear across the studio, into millions of living rooms. "Beneficiary, the Trump Family Trust." A collective gasp burst from the control room. Trump slammed a hand against the table so hard the microphones rattled. "This is a lie," he shouted. "That document is fabricated." Jasmine didn't blink. "You can deny it," she said evenly. "But your signature is here." She tapped the page once. "And the date matches the deposit records." Trump's face went white, then blotched red. "Cut the feed!" he barked, voice raw. "Cut it now!" The producer stood frozen, earpiece pressed tight, as legal advisors frantically gestured behind the glass. But no one moved, because everyone knew, if they cut the broadcast now, it would only prove she was telling the truth. Jasmine turned back to the camera. "He doesn't want you to see this," she said softly. "Ask yourself why." Trump's jaw clenched. "You think this ends me," he hissed. "It won't." Jasmine's voice dropped to a whisper. "Then why are you so afraid?" The red live light kept blinking, and the world was listening. Trump's breathing came in ragged bursts, loud enough to vibrate the microphones. "You don't understand," he said, voice cracking. "This is all political. Nothing here is real." Jasmine tilted her head, studying him. "Then why are you shouting?" she asked, her tone calm as a blade. Trump's eyes darted to the cameras, searching for an ally in the faceless millions watching. "Because the country needs to know this is a witch hunt," he snapped. "A fraud designed to discredit me." Jasmine's fingers traced the edge of the document. "And yet," she said softly, "your signature is still here." The moderator's voice was thin and trembling. "Mr. Trump, do you deny authorizing this transfer?" Trump's lips parted. For a single heartbeat, he didn't seem to know what to say. Then his gaze hardened. "I deny all of it," he said hoarsely. "This entire thing is a setup." Jasmine didn't look away. "Then why did you tell your attorneys to seal these records?" she asked. A hush swept the room, as if everyone had suddenly forgotten how to breathe. Trump's jaw worked, but no words came out. Jasmine turned her face to the camera, her eyes steady and unflinching. "Everyone watching this deserves to ask themselves a question," she said, her voice ringing across the broadcast. If he was innocent, why did he try so hard to keep this hidden? Outside, the ticker flashed bright red. "Breaking, Jasmine Crockett challenges Trump, live. Trump slammed his hand against the desk one more time. You're finished, he rasped. You don't know what you've started. Jasmine's voice dropped to a quiet certainty. No, she said. I know exactly what I've started. Because some truths didn't need permission to be told. And in that moment, every person watching felt the same chill. This wasn't a debate anymore. It was an unveiling. Trump's hand dropped from the table, his eyes glinting with something darker than anger. You think this ends with you reading a line? He asked, voice low and dangerous. You think people won't see through this circus? Jasmine didn't respond. Her focus stayed on the document, one fingertip resting lightly on the line that spelled out his name. I think, she said quietly, they can read. Trump leaned forward, his breath harsh against the microphone. If you finish this, he hissed, I'll bury you in lawsuits so deep you'll never see daylight again. The moderator flinched, glancing toward the control room where legal counsel was already scribbling frantic notes. But Jasmine didn't move, didn't even blink. You've been threatening people your entire career, she said, her voice almost soft. I'm just not one of them. Trump's nostrils flared. You're making a mistake, he growled. I am not someone you humiliate on television. Jasmine tilted her head, studying his face. Then why are you the one yelling? She asked, barely above a whisper. A hush swallowed the studio. Outside, the ticker kept scrolling. Live. Trump threatens legal action. Broadcast continues. Trump's gaze flicked to the cameras again, his voice cracking. You think this makes you look brave, he spat. It makes you look desperate. Jasmine exhaled slowly. Maybe, she said. Or maybe it makes me look like someone who's not afraid of you. Trump's lips parted in a reply that never came. Because in that moment, she turned back to the audience, her voice clear and steady. When someone tries this hard to stop you from speaking, she said, it's usually because they know you're telling the truth. And everyone watching felt the same thrill. She wasn't finished yet. The studio felt frozen in time. Trump's hand still hovered over the papers, as if he could sweep them away with one desperate motion. Jasmine didn't look at him. She looked straight into the camera, her gaze steady and unflinching. For everyone watching, she said quietly, you deserve to know the truth. Trump's voice came out hoarse, ragged. Don't you dare! But she was already speaking. The record shows, she said, her tone clear enough to carry across every network, that the $7 million were authorized by the Trump Family Trust. The words hung in the air, impossibly heavy. Gasps tore through the control room. A producer whispered into a headset. We're live. This is all on tape. Trump's shoulders slumped, as if the fight had finally drained out of him. You think this is over? He rasped. Jasmine turned to him at last. No, she said softly. I think it's just starting. The moderator swallowed hard. Congresswoman Crockett, do you stand by this statement? Jasmine nodded once, unflinching. Every word. A hush fell so deep it felt like the whole country was holding its breath. Jasmine reached for the stack of papers and closed them gently. Then she leaned into the microphone. No one, she said, her voice ringing clear as a bell, is above accountability. Trump didn't reply. He didn't have to. Because the truth was already out. And there was no cutting the broadcast anymore. Some moments rewrite the story we thought we knew. Tonight wasn't about revenge or spectacle. It was about one simple truth. No one gets to build their power on silence and expect it to last forever. When you try to bury the truth, it only grows stronger. And the second you dare to speak it out loud, it stops belonging to the people who hid it and starts belonging to all of us. Remember this moment, because no amount of threats or denial can erase it now.